Dr. Agarwal ma'am is the recipient of NEP Fellowship for participation in various conclaves about globalization, about public policies. Also, she is the Professor of Economics and Chairperson at the Center of Studies in Economics and Planning, School of Social Science, Central University of Gujarat, Gandhinagar, since 2017. She is a member of the National Level Technical Committee on Gender and School Children, Phase 3, set up by the Election Commission of India, Government of Gujarat. She is the Honorable Member of UGC, New Delhi, Committee for Review and Research Proposals. Also, she is a visiting fellow at Center for Advanced Studies in Economics, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel University, Vallabh Vidyanagar. Thank you so much, ma'am, for coming here. And now we are all eager to listen to your experiences as you are little elder to us. But first, I would request Bhagure sir. I now hand over the charge to you. You can please use the mic. You can use the mic. The PPT is already ready, ma'am.
Of course, the announcer said that post-lunch sessions are very interesting, but then at the same time they are very heavy too. So I hope I'm able to keep you involved in the discussion. Now, before I come to the practical aspects of implementation of National Education Policy 2020 in our university, I would like to draw attention towards two questions relating to NEP. One is what, and the other is why. I'll first answer why. And can you just move on to the first slide, please? Yeah. We are all passing through a transition phase. And this transition is at the social level and also at the economic level. And the main cause of this transition is the technology. Yeah. Now, as NEP says, this is a quotation from NEP. Previous slide. Higher education must build expertise that society will need over the next 25 years and beyond. Simply tailoring people into jobs that exist today, but that are likely to change or disappear after some years. We know that, and we have learned that over the years, some of the jobs have become redundant and some jobs are coming up, is suboptimal and even counterproductive. The future workplace will demand critical thinking, communication problem solving, creativity, and multidisciplinary capability. Single skill and single discipline jobs are likely to become automated over time. Therefore, there will be a great need to focus on 21st century competencies for future work. The future that we foresee is going to be very, very different from what it is today, from the present times. And the main factor that is attributed to these changes is the technological advances. We know about the artificial intelligence. And as a teacher, I have always felt that my students are smarter than me. They know much more about the new technology, about Google University, and other aspects related to internet and online. So we need to prepare ourselves for the coming future. And education is one field where revolution is taking place. We are through education revolution phase 4. Yeah? And this fourth revolution is evolving, and it is transforming people's lives. Next slide, please. And it would look something like this. And during education 1, it was just rote learning the subject, but now it is innovation-based education. Yeah. Next, yeah. So the questions that arise before us, we the academicians, can we keep up with the fast-paced technology that is changing so fast? Can our education system radically transform to meet the demands necessitated by the Industrial Revolution 4? And do we have sufficient experts and financial support to facilitate and administer new technology? These questions are very, very important for us to understand and answer. And this is where the national education policy becomes very important. Next slide. Now, there are 4 core market forces that are changing, and they are also reshaping our education, and they include increase in competition, consolidation by handful of big players, mergers and acquisitions, influx of investment, and rising standards for quality. Quality is in big demand in the market. This e-learning market in India and the world over has been increasing, and it is likely to grow even in the coming futures. And by 2025, it is believed that India will touch an online education market of around $5.5 billion. Next, yeah. So what are our priorities then? As academicians, we have to prepare the students that are able to meet the needs of the industry. Next, yeah. Now, it is in this view that this national education policy has been announced and is being implemented. It is based on 5 core pillars: access, equity, quality, affordability, and accountability. These are the 5 major pillars. Next. Now, I would not be touching upon access and other aspects. I would be mainly focusing on the quality aspects, given the theme of the conclave. Now, there are certain highlights of the education policy. I think these have been discussed since morning, so I will not repeat them. Yeah. But one major aspect of the national education policy is the new regulatory bodies that are going to come up. The medium of instruction, it can be either local or regional as per the new policy. There will not be any hard separation. So far as the students are coming, we are moving away from STEM to STEAM. And what is STEM and STEAM? STEM, science, technology, engineering, and maths. But now we are moving, as per the national education policy, to STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. So there is a complete shift away from STEM to STEAM. And the policy also talks about giving autonomy to around 45,000 affiliated colleges in the country, and there would be multiple entry and exit. This has already been discussed in the morning, so I will not be touching upon this. The vision of the policy is to have at least one higher education institution in every district by 2030. Moving towards more multidisciplinary undergraduate education, even postgraduate education, and faculty and institutional autonomy. Now, I'll be coming to this aspect later on also. And then revamping curriculum pedagogy, assessment, and student support system. Next. Talking about faculty and institutional leadership positions through merit appointments. That's a very important aspect to be considered so far as the national education policy is concerned, because it is through this merit appointment that the quality would be achieved. Establishment of the National Research Foundation. and then governance of higher education institutions by highly qualified independent boards that have academic and administrative autonomy. Next slide, yeah. The policy also talks about light but tight regulations. Not many regulations, but tightly to be implemented. I have already talked about equity and inclusion part, and what is being focused upon is online teaching, ODL, online distance learning programs, which are being encouraged. Infrastructure, learning material, accessibility, and that should be available to learners. This National Education Policy 2020 is learner-centric. So the entire focus is on learners rather than the teaching. Next slide, yeah. I've already talked about STEM and STEAM, and foreign direct investment will be allowed by 100 top universities of the world. Now, the implication is that the higher education institutions in India will be directly in competition with these institutions. Currently, we have a three-tier structure where we have the center-funded institutions, the state-funded, and the private self-funded institutions. This is the existing structure. Now, the National Education Policy doesn't talk about these three types of institutions. Rather, all the higher education institutions will be universities in the long run. And there would be three different types of universities, which would be teaching intensive, research intensive, and then autonomous colleges, which in the long run will be universities providing degrees. Yeah. Now, autonomous degree granting colleges will be large, multidisciplinary, that will grant undergraduate degrees. And there would be a stage-wise mechanism for granting graded autonomy to colleges through a transparent system of graded accreditation. Now, this accreditation system is slightly going to be different, and the body that will accredit these higher education institutions will be NAAC, National Accreditation Council. And this will be established, and these higher educations will have the autonomy and freedom to move gradually from one category to another category. That means those that are teaching intensive universities will be able to move to research intensive universities, and even autonomous colleges will be able to move to teaching intensive and research intensive gradually. And the number of students required would be around 3,000 for the autonomous colleges, which would be gradually becoming the universities. Yeah, I have a very short time, so I would not be going into the details of this. Autonomous degree granting colleges will refer to multidisciplinary institutions of higher learning. Next slide, yeah, just rush through them. And institutions, even the private institutions which will be at par with the public institutions, will have the option to run these open online distance learning programs. Single stream higher education institutions will be phased out. That means all the institutions would be multidisciplinary in nature. Next, yeah. Affiliated colleges will be phased out. They will have the option to get merged with the university or get the status of autonomous institution. And so far as these private institutions are concerned, there would be government regulation, and 20% of the seats in these private institutions will be filled up through free ship, and 30% by the fellowships. So 50% seats will be reserved for free ships and fellowships, and as 50% can be filled up. Now, so far as the fee structure is concerned, it will depend on the accreditation of the institution. There would be a regulatory body. Now, in Gujarat, we have the Fee Regulatory Committee, and similar kind of committee is being proposed even for the higher education institutions, where the institution will be able to fill up and charge the fees. But that will depend on accreditation. Next, here. So, commercialization. We know that the aim of the private higher education particularly is quite different in the present times, which needs to be changed. Next. Yeah. Graded autonomy depending on accreditation. Then this will be very important for the private higher educations. Maintaining an openness in their financial dealings. There will be a board of governors which will be responsible for any irregularity in the accounting system. And this board of governors has to contain eminent people, well reputed in their professional area, to guide the development of the higher education institution. Next. Yeah. So, multidisciplinary autonomous colleges will have at least 3,000 students. Timeline to become multidisciplinary by 2030, and then have more than 3,000 students by 2040. So, concept of constituent college deemed to be university will be phased out. Next slide, yeah. Student-centered teaching, choice-based credit system. I think many of the organizations and many of the higher education institutions have already adopted the choice-based credit system. Examination system will change. Pedagogy will have to be changed. More focus on communication, presentation, discussion, debate, research, analysis, and interdisciplinary thinking among the students. Next. Private sector, they can play a role by financing higher education institution, but this affiliation will not continue in the next 15 years. What is required by the private institutions is public-spirited commitment, social commitment for high-quality education. Focus on research and innovation. Time and again, National Education Policy 2020 has been talking about quality. Next slide, yeah. Curriculum, pedagogy, continuous assessment, yeah. Institutions and faculty will have the autonomy. In the developed countries, we do have that system even in the present times, and we, in the National Education Policy, will have the autonomy to adopt our own curriculum. Yeah. Continuous formative assessment. Right now, we have the mid-semester examination and the annual and the end semester examination, and the students are done with it. But that will not be the situation when the new policy will be implemented. That there will be a continuous evaluation process. Concept of empowerment and autonomy to innovate. This is being focused in the National Education Policy. It's one of the key features of the policy. It supports a phasing out strategy from affiliated colleges to autonomous institutions. Yeah. So, institutions can become teaching intensive or research intensive institutions. Now, what the higher education institutions need to do? Mitigate opportunity cost and fee for pursuing higher education. Provide more financial assistance and scholarships to students so that they can encourage brilliant minds. Conduct outreach on higher education, opportunities and scholarships through community participation. Admission process has to be more inclusive. Curriculum also has to be more inclusive. Improve the employability of the students by linking industry requirements with the curriculum. Even the NASCOM report says that only 25% of the students are employable. The FICCI report also mentions around 30 to 35% of the students are coming from higher education institutions to be worth employable. So we need to improve their employability, which is very, very important. And then we need to develop more degree courses being taught in Indian languages, national and also regional. Next. Ensure buildings and facilities. In building up infrastructure. Now, infrastructure is not just, buildings, but also other aspects that is relating to technology. Bridge courses are also very, very important during the process. Last slide, please, that one. Yeah, no, the previous one. Socio-emotional and academic support to the students and mentoring is required. Sensitization of the faculty, counselor, students on gender identity issue, strictly follow all no discrimination policy in the higher education institutions and develop institutional development plans that would contain specific plans for increasing participation for sustainable development goals. Now, one last word about the conclusion from the National Education Policy. Last slide, please. It's a visionary policy to make the education system holistic, flexible, multidisciplinary, and aligned to the needs of the 21st century and 2030 Sustainable Development Goals. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. As Gujarat University has already adopted the NEP, Central University of Gujarat, they have already taken up the transformation, they have already started embracing the change. University of Goa is about to implement it, probably from the very today. And we are all eager to know about how they have prepared for it. And to share about their preparation, we have Professor B.P. Sarat Chandran from University of Goa. I request him to please come up on stage. And I request Dr. Shraddha Bhumi ma'am, the Vice Principal of Dnyanasadhana College, to welcome him with a memento. Professor B.P. Sarat Chandran is from Goa. He is a professor of economics in Goa Business School. His area of specialization is international economics, particularly regional trade agreements among countries. He is the executive committee member of the Indian Economic Association and technical member of Goa Wetland Board as well. He is the first appellate authority under RTI at Goa University, and also NEP. For NEP, he is the institutional coordinator of Goa University. Sir, I request you to please share with us how you prepared for the NEP.
At the outset, I would like to thank Satish Pradhan College for giving me an opportunity to share some of the experiences we had in implementing the new education policy. At the beginning, I would like to make a caveat that Goa is a very small place. There is only one university. There are around 60 colleges. All are very small in size. So whatever experiences we encountered may not be applicable to a big state like Maharashtra, or wherein there are a large number of institutions, very, very reputed, deemed to be universities there. But we thought this is a forum, we can also learn from you, and whatever fine tuning is required can be done. As it is already discussed, NEP is a transformational policy, and that kind of a transformational policy cannot be done perfectly in the very first instinct. There is fine tuning is required as and when we learn from others, and that's the very purpose of a platform like this. We are eager to learn from you people. Now, we started the implementation of the NEP from this academic year, 23-24. The draft guidelines came sometime back, and after going through that document, we thought it is more of a complicated process. So we thought that let us wait for the final regulations. From there, we can start preparation. These regulations came somewhere in December. So immediately after that, we started working on it. First, we got a very clear political signaling from the government, says that the government want to implement the NEP in letter and spirit, and there should not be any deviation from the document provided to us. That's a kind of a brief we got from the government. And the University of Goa has appointed a committee to basically design the structure for the undergraduate program, and also to come out with the required ordinances so that this can be implemented from this academic year. And immediately after that, the committee started stakeholder consultations. We discussed with many stakeholders, the teachers, the college principals, the management, and students also. And we try to gauge what kind of an apprehensions these stakeholders have on NEP, and how best we can address those concerns when we draft, when we prepare the structure. So that was done, and after multiple levels of discussion, we somehow came to the final draft, and that was approved in the academic council. And then this approved thing was told to the meeting was convened of the chairpersons of various schools, and they also discussed and interacted all those things, and they were asked to prepare the kind of a structure for the 4-year program, and the detailed syllabus for the first 2 semesters. And finally, the ordinance was given its accent by the Honorable Chancellor of Goa University, and so technically also we are ready for the implementation of the NEP. Let's go to the next one. I was asked to give some of the challenges we faced, as well as our experiences of implementation. So my short duration presentation, I'll be focusing some of the challenges we encountered while we discussing this particular regulation. Now, first one was the problem of size, which I said earlier. Goa is a small state, and there are around 60 colleges which are very small size, 500 to 1,500 students, that kind of a thing. And the philosophy of the NEP is multidisciplinary, holistic learning, and most of these colleges are single discipline, particularly commerce colleges. So those kind of colleges with the commerce faculty there in those single discipline colleges, how we will be implementing this particular NEP. And after deliberation, we thought that cluster formation can be a solution to this particular problem, and discussion started at the principal's level, management's level, and after various levels of discussion, and also with the active involvement of the Director of Higher Education, and we succeeded in forming 5 clusters in Goa, one in South Goa, one in Central Goa, and one in North Goa, and one in the hinterland area, so that at least colleges can come together and share their courses, so that single discipline colleges also take courses, multidisciplinary courses and other courses from these colleges, and they can provide this multidisciplinary this thing. And the students will be traveling and taking up a course if the course is hosted by another institution. And in many colleges, the certain type of courses are not available. For example, fine arts, drawing, theatre, those kind of things which is not there in many colleges. So the director said that they will be appointing dedicated teachers who will be traveling to different cluster colleges and offering these courses. And that's the way that particular thing is addressed to. The next major concern was from the teachers about the work. I'm not saying workload, and for the security of the job. And the teachers said that if we are deviating from the present one to a new one, there is a possibility of teachers becoming surplus. And what is the status of that thing? And where we got a very concrete assurance from the government saying that none of the teachers, the permanent teachers, will be made a surplus and will not lose their jobs. Rather, they will try to maintain all the teachers, including regular contract and lecture basis. And the government is very confident when the fourth year is rolled out, and all the teachers will be employed, plus there will be additional requirement of teachers. And with regard to fourth year, we have decided that the students who are going to the third year now are technically eligible to continue. They have the option of taking the fourth year next year, so that naturally from next academic year onwards, the 4-year thing will be in operation. And as I said, we try to keep everything what is mentioned in the regulation. We have not deviated much from the guidelines. And the Chancellor given the accent, I said, can we go to the next slide? Yeah. So the next is the compulsory internship. In the structure, in the 5th semester, there is a 2-credit compulsory internship for all the undergraduate students. And we don't have that many kind of industries, so there was an apprehension how all the graduate students can find the 2-credit internship during their vacation. So here the director has said that they are started a centralized the internship portal where all the students have to compulsorily register, and also they are licensing with all the industries which are existing in Goa, also the industries outside the Goa. So the kind of a portal, the software will try to automatically match, and if the students are finding it difficult to get internship, and the directorate level, they will be making efforts to get internship for the students, so that every students are getting this opportunity. And there is another issue of the 6 to 8 weeks summer term, which is coming in during the vacation. Again, this question was raised during this vacation, how this semester can be done. And here the solution finally arrived at is we try to encourage students to take some kind of an internship program where the teacher presence is very minimal. Maybe just before taking up this vocational based training, the concerned mentor teacher will give orientation, and during this period the students can get in touch with through online mode, get the required kind of a guidance, and finally the students will be submitting kind of a report which will be evaluated by the teacher, so that the presence of teacher can be minimized during this time. And also courses will be designed in such a way that looking into the availability of teacher, so this issue can be addressed to. And there is a provision to take up to 40% of the courses in SWAYAM, whether that will reduce the workload. Again, we got an assurance that as long as the teachers are there, workload is warranted, they can offer that course. And maybe over and above, when there is a substantial increase in the workload in the 4th year, and or the students finds a particular course very interesting for him to do it, and that's why we put up to 40%. That means that is in a way that the interest of the teachers are also considered. And identifying skill courses. So in our structure, we made that 3-credit skill enhancement courses completely hands-on or practical based. As far as possible, all the 3 credits should be practical. That means 1 credit is equal to 30 hours of practical. So 3 credit means 30 into 3, 90 hours. And there are some subjects giving those kind of a courses, particularly the course like the disciplines like philosophy, giving a hands-on kind of a skill will be difficult, so that the students can take the related or the course skill which they find useful, so that this particular issue also tackled. Potential workload in the 4th year I talked about. Also from the last academic year, we implemented the elements of new education policy in our postgraduate course structure also. The 2nd year of all the PG programs of Goa University is a research-oriented program. All the core papers and the discipline-specific electives are offered in the first 2 semesters, and the 2nd semester, the emphasis on research. There is a 16-credit project dissertation a student has to do, and the courses are research-specific courses helping the students to complete their 16-credit project. So we started implementing the NEP for the postgraduate from the last academic year onwards. So that has created some more issues, in the sense that there is a possibility of running multiple programs at the PG level. For example, there is a student who is exiting after 4th year, 4 years of undergraduate. For him, 1 year PG program is required. There is a possibility of students exiting after 3 years of undergraduate. For them, there is a 2-year program is required. So that is also we have worked out. We have designed our program in such a way that all these 2 categories, that 1-year PG and 2-year PG, can be simultaneously offered. In addition to that, we are asking the disciplines to come out with a 5-year integrated PG program at the university level, so that all these students can be accommodated there also. With regard to 4-year honors with research, a peculiar problem we had that may not be there in Maharashtra. There is a requirement of 2 PhD guides which is required to offer this 4-year honors with research program. Currently, many disciplines we don't have, so that they may not be able to offer immediately, but there is an effort made. All the teachers should register for PhD and becoming PhD holders and the guide, and this problem can be addressed. Next slide, please. There is another issue of 50% credit for core courses. How we have designed the first year is, the student who is coming out of the 12th year, there are 5 broad streams of subjects, so he will be making a particular choice, and once the student makes a choice, in that stream he will be doing 4 different courses, that is 2 major, 2 minor. So in that case, there is a possibility of student getting only 56 credit or 52 credits if the student is going for specialization from the minor area. So this was a kind of a issue many people raised, how we are meeting the 50% of the credit, and the assumption we made is initially in the first year student is not going for specialization, he is a student of that particular stream, so whatever major course he is taking in the first year will be considered as a core courses, so that 50% credit the student can be achieved. And there is a kind of a resistance from the self-financing courses, particularly courses like BBA, BCA. They said that their courses is a internship intensive, the application-oriented, on-the-job training, those kind of a thing. This kind of a framework may not be suitable for them. They have a very long history of running an internship with a flexible kind of a structure, but we have convinced them to follow this particular structure, because NEP, every graduate student has to undergo it, but we have made kind of a provisions to take a sufficient number of internship. For example, there is a 12 credit dissertation, internship can be offered in lieu of this, and also there are 3 vocational education and training VET courses in minor that can be also internship. There is a 2 credit compulsory internship, so sufficient number of credits and internship is available in this structure also, and now they are also following this particular NEP structure. And there was a minor compulsory research project which was there in the pre-NEP structure. So there was a demand from principal forum that if this is not retained, there will be a workload issue, and that we have also realized that. So there is a provision to offer minor project in NEP structure also. So there is a compulsory minor project for the students at the third year level, so that they will be doing this particular project that takes care of the workload also. Next slide. So experience, we could successfully implement or make a structure completely adhering the NEP in letter and spirit. There was a solid support from the government side to implement NEP. Whatever difficulties we faced, we spoke to the director concerned. He was all the time ready to accept various provisions. There was a political support also for that, and we were fortunate. And admissions are done at the centralized level, so there is a common admission portal. So all the graduate students will be are logging in that particular portal with the preference of their major as well as the colleges they would do. So since it is done centralized, many issues we could address there also. There is an internship portal which I talked about, and second year is a research one, and also students were all asked to take courses, because a cluster is formed, so they are free to move from one college to other college to take whatever course which is not available in their institution. And also if they like a particular course offered by another music college or arts college or fine arts college, they are free to move and take the credit. Also the other regulations of UGC, which is critical for the NEP implementation, that also we have adopted. ABC statute is formed, already students are registering there, and Swayam ordinance that is also there. Dual degree and professor of practice, all these ordinances ready. And also Swayam, we made that to maintain the level, because now the NEP talking about the level 4.55, so the first year is a particular level, third year. So to see that suitability of the courses, whether it is following the structure, the BOS, the departmental council will look into the feasibility of the course, recommend to academic council, and then once the academic council passes, they are free to choose whatever SWAYAM courses they can take. So we are starting now. First round of admission is done. Now we are going to the second round of admissions, and we expect problems to crop up, but we are prepared, so that we are confident that we should be able to address these problems. So that is our experience, and experience so far is good, and awareness is very important, and we were taking all the forums to spread this awareness, and with that I think every stakeholders are at calm now, and they are into it now. Hopefully things will be rolling shortly. So that's the government experience. Thank you for your patience.
All your preparedness can be really helpful. Maharashtra is a state between, I mean, it is situated exactly between Gujarat and Goa. So, ऊपर वालों ने कर लिया है, नीचे वाले already prepared हैं, तो उसके बीच में Maharashtra is there, but shortly I think Maharashtra will also take up. Thank you so much for your valuable guidance.